In the Rome mission, it is very humid. So in the summer, it feels hotter than hot. And in the winter, it feels colder than cold. I would say it's a lot like Utah. Not in the sense, I mean, as hot as it gets, it's that and then more wet. Humidity. Yeah. But it gets cold like Utah. It does not snow like Utah. Rome gets snow maybe once every 10 years. And when there's a couple snowflakes, things close and people go crazy. But in the city I served in Sicily, it actually snowed. But we were on top of a mountain. So it's like Utah, but more to the bone in that sense. Cold is more to the bone, hot, but you're hot and sweaty. For elders, their only hope is short sleeve shirts for the summertime. They'll definitely use long sleeve shirts, fall and winter. For sisters, especially during the summer, like button up shirts where they don't need an undershirt because they're already wearing one layer and then they have their shirt on top. Shirts that do not call for an undershirt for modesty, I would go for those shirts. Layers. Cardigans are wonderful because like anywhere in the morning it's colder, in the evening it's colder, but during the day you can take off your cardigan, your sweater, put it into your bag. Scarves saved my life as a missionary. Scarves can be used around your neck or around as a sweater in itself. And elders will come to learn to use scarves themselves, even though they may think it's strange in America. In Italy, it's completely acceptable. Tights are really layering up, not just your normal outfit and then a coat, but to layer up is what I would suggest. Elders take vests, or elders take sweaters to put underneath their coats, and socks that they can layer.
The stereotype about crazy Italian traffic is true. It is completely true. Some cities, they have a better, like especially in the bigger cities, they'll have a better bus system. So in that case, you'll probably you'll probably use buses more, or you'll have buses and bikes depending. Other cities that don't have as great of a system, you'll be a bike area. Very few times will you actually have a car. The only time you're going to have a car is if you're working in the office, or if you're a zone leader and you have a really big zone. That's the only thing I know of. About the time that I left, they started getting more cars. But for the most part, it's just walking, biking, and public transportation. Milano, in Milan, there's it's all public transportation, because they have a really great transportation system. Other areas, not so much. Safety tips: if you're on a bike, just be safe around traffic, because look where you're going, everything. Make sure you wear your helmet. Don't be stupid, because Italian traffic is true. I remember, this didn't happen to me, but it happened to my companion. We were biking, we were coming home with our groceries on our bikes, which is difficult in and of itself, trying to balance your groceries on your bikes. But we were biking home, and my companion was here, and a bus was here, and they were right there. And I was behind her. I was just like, did that really just happen? So yeah, you're kind of just I feel don't worry about it, because God takes care of his missionaries. But at the same time, don't be stupid, because he only takes care of you if you're actually not being stupid. But he does take care of you. There are very few rules that are actually different for sisters and elders, and I honestly can't remember what they are. But usually it'll be the sisters need to make sure that they're home at a certain time or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it is, but the mission does provide a supplement to the White Handbook that we're supposed to study just as much as we study the White Handbook. So you'll be well aware of what your specific rules are. really the best way to avoid situations that could put you in danger is to follow the rules as closely as possible, because even if they're silly, like you can't hold a baby, like they are there for a reason, and it's to protect you and them, and like being exactly obedient is what's going to make sure that you can be 100% sure that the Lord is protecting you no matter what. Clothing wise, like, again, just follow the rules. Like, make sure you don't, like, it's, I don't know, for me, it's better to be far away from the line than to be like getting close to it for fashion. Sometimes you have to, because it's really hard to find clothes that are modest enough for a mission. But like you should just always make sure that there is, like, when I was getting ready for my mission, my mom would always like tell me this is a little edgy. We don't want to be edgy because, yes, it's okay, but it's a little close. I would rather there would be no question whatsoever that it's okay. Because like the further away you are from the edge, the more protected you are, because the more you know that you're following exactly what the Lord wants you to follow. I would probably just say, don't be afraid to be yourself, because like, especially, because I feel like, especially as sisters, we compare ourselves to like everyone. This sister does this so well. This person does this so well. I can't do that. Like, I'm just not that great. But the Lord called you. He called that sister as well, but he also called you. So don't be afraid to be yourself, because the Lord made you who you were. He didn't make you this other person. And he gave you the gifts that you have for a specific reason. And working with members, that's not necessarily something you're going to do like as a missionary, more often than not, actually. But I felt that was what I need. That's what my calling was as a missionary, was to work with members. So just like, don't be afraid to be who you are. Like, always be true to yourself. Like, for me, it was really hard to talk to people that I didn't know. I was much better at teaching lessons and tracting. But like, no matter what you're doing, just don't be afraid to open your mouth, especially if you feel like you have something to say. Always be respectful for them, like for their beliefs, no matter what. But at the same time, don't be afraid to boldly declare what you know, especially if the Spirit tells you to do so. Sometimes a bold declaration is what they need. Sometimes, a testimony that supports what they believe is what they need. It all depends. And so, like, if you feel like you have something to say, or you don't know what to say, just like open your mouth and say the first thing that comes to your mind, and then keep doing that until things stop coming to your mind, because that's how the Spirit is going to teach. My mom once asked me like what I did as a missionary to prepare for lessons, and I was just like, I have no clue what I did, because it was all directed by the Spirit. The goal really is to make sure that the Spirit is leading you and guiding you, because the Spirit is the one that's teaching you. It's the one that's teaching them, and the only way that you're going to have any sort of success is if you're letting the Spirit do its job. So like everything that goes back, like everything that leads up to Spirit, like obeying mission rules, studying the scriptures, doing everything you possibly can to make sure the Spirit is with you 100%. If you do all that, then the Spirit will be with you. And then all that's left is for you to have faith and the confidence that the Spirit will do his job. And then you get to have that really cool feeling of letting the Spirit work through you.
In Rome, yeah, the crime rate is definitely up there. Be careful, you'll run into it everywhere. Just, sisters, keep your bags across your shoulder at all times and keep it zipped, because I got robbed in Rome. It was like my last 2 weeks in the mission. I gotten that far to not ever being robbed. And I was going down a subway, going down the metro, down the escalator, and I had my bag on my one shoulder, which was not good. And I think I had my bag zipped closed. I'm pretty sure I did, but there's a chance I didn't. And so anyway, I went down, and it was P Day, and we took the metro into the center of Rome. And I saw my bag was open. I whipped open my bag and I thought, that's weird. Why is my bag open? I did the quick check, my wallet, my camera, and I found my camera. I could not find my wallet. My wallet was gone. And I cried. Anyway, I went back, and we realized, I think, that it was down that escalator that guy just came in and just stuck his hand right in. But another thing is, when you're waiting on the metros, there are piles of people that are going in, and there are definitely people they're these like little Romanian girls, and they seem really sweet, but don't be deceived, because they wear these huge bags that are like more higher up on their waist, and they'll come up to you and they'll like put their bag, so you're squished with a ton of people, and they'll put your bag onto your bag, pretending like they're squished into you, and then they'll like maneuver their hand out of their bag into yours. So I've had a couple try that on me, but I was prepared. So just be careful. The mafia is definitely more prevalent in Sicily. For sure. Sicily and Naples. It's definitely more dangerous in both those areas, and I served in both of them. But I didn't see anything super sketchy. I think there were some false alarms. I remember I was in Sicily, and my companion and I were waiting at a bus stop, and we all of a sudden saw this big car zoom by, big like Suburban or something, with a guy with his head like stuck out the window, and he was just holding this huge gun, like shooting like behind him. And my heart like stopped beating, and my companion like grabbed my arm, and because we thought it was like in a car chase, like shooting. And anyway, then another car zoomed right behind it, and a guy was sticking at himself outside the window, and he was holding like this huge video camera. So they were just like shooting a movie or something. So it was a false alarm, but we had to laugh, and I just thought like that would not be allowed in America. That would not fly. But yeah, so I know that there was behind the scenes mafia stuff going on, but I honestly didn't ever run into anything. I mean, there was some speculation with the missionaries and things like that, but no. And